So a couple months ago, I released a video where I ranked every Eminem album from my least favorite to my most favorite. Pretty normal type of YouTube video. There was one album where I knew its ranking would be controversial, and it was. Most people were reasonable and could acknowledge the fact that we all have different tastes, art is subjective, and they said things like, that's not how I would do it, but great video, you articulated yourself well, and I can see why you ranked them this way. Love that. That's a great way to start a discussion about art. Some people even fully agreed with me on my ranking, so I know I'm not alone. But others were very nasty and downright hateful. I even got some personal attacks on like what I do in my channel, and someone claimed that I live in my parents' basement and I have horrible taste. Now, I don't like making videos on this channel that feel negative, especially when it's about my favorite artist of all time. But I need to talk about the Eminem Show and the whole mainstream perception of it. I want to start off by saying exactly what I said already in the ranking video. It's a fantastic rap album. I'm not saying it's not. It's great. I love everything that Eminem does. And I wouldn't be making this video if I didn't constantly see people acting like lunatics about it. And if the Eminem Show is your favorite album, there's a good chance it is. I don't want to step on anyone's toes about this at all. You're totally allowed to have that as your favorite album. But in general, I think people really need to check their nostalgia with this one before they go spewing venom on the internet to random strangers. I made it very clear in that video that I'm mainly a pop and rock person. I kind of approach all music from that mentality. We all experience art differently and appreciate different qualities of art. And in general, I tend to like albums with really good production, a lot of dynamic emotions, a lot of dynamic energy. I just like when hip-hop artists give you an experience that's closer to like a pop or rock album where there's a whole musical experience attached to it instead of solely caring about lyrics and flow. That being said, I think Eminem's flow in like almost all of his other albums is better, but we'll get to that. The things I just listed are why Eminem has always been my favorite artist of all time, despite me not really being a giant hip-hop person. Eminem to me is just hands down the most musical and dynamic rapper ever. Like by far. So I prefer his albums that really explore that. In my opinion, the albums that I think do that extremely well are pretty much the whole 2009 to 2017 span. Of course, he always had songs sprinkled throughout that demonstrated his skills really well, but I think his albums started to feel extra polished and expressive starting from that point. I think he got better over the years. While I can acknowledge that my nostalgic point is kind of stuck around 2009 through 2013, I think from that point he has objectively gotten better at a lot of things to do with making music, especially his rhyme schemes and flows. They've gotten really complex. So I guess we'll start with that. The Eminem Show is just kind of stagnant feeling to me compared to his other work. Like his flows throughout the songs don't really change all that much. He doesn't have as much of a song-like cadence. I think a lot of the hooks in that album kind of lack in terms of separation from the verses. And again, if you're mainly like a rap person, that's fine. If you mainly just care about lyrics and like the context of, you know, the rap game in 2002, more power to you. I'm just saying that there's more than one way to look at music, and the totally intolerant view of this is the correct best album, if you don't think that, then you have horrible taste. I don't understand. I really don't understand. I do think nostalgia and the hype of his career in 2002 has a lot to do with the everlasting kind of perceived quality of it. And that's another thing. Marshall was a busy, busy man that year. He was basically making 2 albums and a movie. And so to me, this album feels the most like the product of a machine. Do you know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Like, I'm definitely not saying it's the worst album, because I think clearly that's Encore, but I just think it sounds like he had a formula for the Eminem Show. Because also a lot of the beats sound really similar. Like, listen to just a bunch of these back to back. You can't tell me that that's not some of the least variety in beats that he's had in his albums. My opinion of all of his albums is also very, very heavily influenced by the quality of his vocals. Again, because I'm not predominantly a hip-hop person. Sonically, I think this is his least interesting album. I'm just gonna throw that out there. But the Eminem voice that I liked best was 2010 through about 2012. He came back to the MMLP1 style of yelling in a lot of his songs, but he had grown up and developed way better vocal technique. I love the amount of singing he was doing. He has the voice of a very disgruntled angel. But in the Eminem Show, it just kind of feels half-cocked almost. And his tone is very, you know, like back of the throat, kind of glottally. Like, it sounds like he drank too much milk. I go to TRL, look how many hugs I get! If you resonate with that style of Eminem, again, awesome. Like, keep your opinion, that's fine. I'm just saying, I just don't personally get this album, really. I mean, I do, I still love it. And the only reason I feel like I have to shit on it a little bit is, again, because of the public perception of it, and because I was getting, like, fucking personal attacks. Like, chill out. I have yet to see a person explain to me what they like about it. I love disagreement. If you can tell me the things that you like better about this and this, that's all part of the fun of it, is disagreeing. But zero people said, I like the Eminem Show best because of this, and this. It was either, oh, you had to be there, it's classic, that was my childhood, man. Or just straight up, you're wrong, you have bad taste, kill yourself. Everyone else puts Eminem Show as their #1, so clearly you're wrong. It's like, dude, that's not how shit works. What would be the point of me making a ranking video if everyone was just supposed to have the exact same opinion? Another thing I was kind of ranking the albums by is their standout songs and how high I think the peaks of each albums were. Because I put Revival a lot higher than most people do. A lot of people had a problem with that, because I put Revival, like, in the dead center, basically, of all of the albums. And that's because, yeah, Revival's a mixed bag, but I think the peaks of it are really high. And he was trying a lot of new stuff. Revival was not formulaic. So with the Eminem Show, I think Sing for the Moment and Soldier are amazing. Those songs are fantastic. They're some of his best. But the rest of the album, I think, is really middle of the road. Like, it's a consistent album. I'll give you that. It's very consistent. It has a steady high quality throughout the entire thing. I just don't think it takes nearly as many risks as pretty much all of his other albums do. Even Encore. I personally like Toy Soldiers and Ass Like That better than, like, anything on the Eminem Show. Oh, Spend Some Time is such a good song too. I think there's 3 albums of Eminem's that sound kind of stagnant, and that's the Eminem Show, Encore, and the Slim Shady LP. That's another one I got hate for, because I did have Slim Shady LP as my very last. But I explained that to the best of my ability. I just think it sounds bad. It's his worst produced album. That's basically it. I don't subscribe to the idea that celebrities are cooler before they're big, and before their work is elevated. And again, I love the Slim Shady LP, but those 3 are my least favorite because they're just the least musically dynamic. I don't know how else to say that. Like, that part is true. That part is kind of objectively true. There's nothing wrong with looking past that and still calling those your favorite albums. I mean, I know no one likes Encore, but just chill out, okay? Stop picking fights about what the best album is. There is no best album. My top 3 constantly interchange. My tastes also evolve the older I get and the more I listen to his work. When I was an edgy middle schooler, I was constantly listening to his first 3 albums. After I got a full digestion of all of his work and watched his albums subsequently come out, I like healthy, sober Marshall. I like him making the best music that he possibly can and developing skills over years, as opposed to thinking of him as just a rapper. To put a little bit of a cap on things, I don't think I explained that I really love Eminem's lyrics, obviously. That's clearly, like, most of the point of rap music. But even looking at it from that standpoint, I don't think Eminem Show is his strongest album lyrically either. Death of Slim Shady is a great example of that. This album's crazy. The shit that he's saying is crazy. His lyrics have gotten unfathomably impressive in the last couple albums. But at the end of the day, yeah, lyrics are a huge part of Eminem. He's undoubtedly the most talented lyricist, in my opinion, on the planet that's basically ever lived. But at the end of the day, what keeps me coming back to any given music is the overall sound. So you're not allowed to get mad at me for liking one album over the other. And don't take a stranger's opinion on the internet so personally anyway. I know that's hypocritical of me to say because that's kind of the whole point of this video, but I'm not upset about anybody's opinions toward Eminem. I also forgot to mention, I really like Eminem's inspirational music, and a lot of that came post-relapse. Stuff like Airplanes Part 2 or Guts Over Fear or even Not Afraid. I really resonate with that. The positive side of Marshall, I really resonate with. Even though I really do love the Slim Shadiness of having super topical references and poking fun at everything he can. I'm just here organizing my opinions basically on an artist that I view fondly over the entire scope of. So again, I'm not saying I dislike any of the albums. But anyway, let me know what you think about the Eminem Show. Please God, someone, like, lay out your opinions for me, because there's a lot that I love about the Eminem Show, and I would love to talk about those things just in a very polite way, please. Let me know the exact reasons that aren't fueled by nostalgia why the Eminem Show is the best album to you. That's the kind of discussion I want to see when we're talking about an artist that we all collectively love. Why are we gatekeeping and shunning the different eras of one of the best-selling artists of all time? It doesn't make any sense. It's counterproductive. All right, bye guys.